that you can consume and you won't be hungry? Well, let's go to the text again. Go to Deuteronomy 8. I'm walking us back. I want to show you Deuteronomy chapter 8. Now, you may want to write these down, these verses. But you want to go back and study the context to make sure that I'm explaining this exactly in the context. Go to verse 7. Oh, wait a minute. Yep, go to Deuteronomy. Sorry. So we just left Exodus 16. Now we're in Deuteronomy chapter 8. And verse 7. Watch that. It says, "For the Lord your God is bringing you to a good land, a land of brooks of water, of fountains of springs that flow out of the valleys and hills, a land where wheat and barley of the vine, of fig trees, pomegranates, a land of olive oil and of honey, a land in which you will eat bread without scarcity, in which you will lack nothing, a land whose stones are iron, and out of whose hills you can dig copper. When you have eaten and are full, then you shall bless the Lord your God for the good land which he has given you." Now watch this. He didn't mention nothing about me. You see that? He says, after you eat all these things, you're going to be good and full. In other words, you're not, just because, we've been tricked. We've been tricked into believing that in order to be full and have energy, that we got to eat meat. That's just not true. 8 verse 7 through 10 explains that. You see that? Let's go to Exodus 9 now. I want to show you this. Exodus chapter 9. Then you have individuals who are so addicted that they'll tell you you can eat any kind of meat. Exodus chapter 9, we're going to start in verse number 1, I believe. Yep. Watch this. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Go in to Pharaoh and tell him, thus said the Lord, of the Hebrews, let my people go, that they may serve me." As a matter of fact, that's one of our words for worship. Verse 2, "For if you refuse to let them go and still hold to them, behold, the hand of the Lord will be on your cattle in the field." Talking about Pharaoh's cattle in the field, on the horses, on the donkeys, on the camels, on the oxen, on the sheep, a very severe pestilence. Now, you can best believe that the Egyptians were eating all of these meats. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, you can go to Egypt today and they eat camel, they eat donkey, horses, all kinds of meats that were outlawed in Leviticus. Watch what verse 4 says. "And the Lord will make a difference between the livestock of Israel and the livestock of Egypt. So nothing shall die," that's interesting, "of all that belongs to the children of Israel." Then the Lord, now watch this. Notice the children of Israel had cattle. They had meat also. I want you to make a note of that. Verse 5. "Then the Lord appointed a set time, saying, tomorrow the Lord will do this thing in the land. So the Lord did this thing on the next day, and watch this, all the livestock of Egypt died. But the livestock of the children of Israel, not one of them died. They had all the animals with them. I want you to keep that in mind. Verse 7. "Then Pharaoh sent And indeed, not even one of the livestock of the Israelites was dead. But the heart of Pharaoh became hard, and he did not let the people go. So I want to make that point. And I want you to understand that the children of Israel, they had meat to eat. They had it there. Let's go to Numbers 11. Numbers 11. Numbers 11. Hey. Numbers 11, and then drop down to verse number 4. This is interesting. Now the mixed multitude who were among them yielded to intense cravings. Again, here they are, deciding it again. Deuteronomy chapter 12, they had intense cravings. Now the mixed multitude were among them yielded to intense cravings, so the children of Israel also wept again and said, who will give us meat to eat? Intense craving, that's addiction. Intense craving, that's like a crackhead who is trying to get his fix, trying to get a hit, and cannot. They have intense cravings. Now, let me make a note about meat today. The food you eat today. Now, there's a point to me saying this because last week, there were questions. I told you, I promised you I would give you the answers, part of the answers today. I'm going to keep going with this. Crackheads. If you think about this intense craving, it is the same kind of craving that each and every one of us has for the kinds of meats that they're making today, that they make today. Why? Because especially, we talked about this last week, if you're talking about processed foods, why can't we just cold turkey on processed foods? Why is that so hard? Because it's the same addiction that a crackhead had. Wouldn't it be crazy for us to think that a crackhead could just stop cold turkey? That's crazy. And usually they don't. And so it is with us today, because meats have been processed to the point where number one, they strip out all the nutrients. There's no more protein or amino acids in those meats. Why? Because when you take a cow who eats the grain, cows don't eat meat for protein. Have you ever thought about that? And they're big and strong. Gorillas, they don't eat meat for protein. And yet a gorilla will drag you around this. They do not eat. They're big and strong. So what is it that they're doing to the meat that make you feel that you can't stop cold turkey? So watch this, no pun intended. What they do is they strip all the nutrients out. So watch this. When that cow eats those vital nutrients, that grass, that hay, whatever they're eating, their bodies go through a metabolic process, just like our bodies do. Now, I want you to write this down. Maybe you know this. Does anyone know the 5 processes that our bodies go through when it comes to eating food, or one of them? One is, write this down. Consumption is one. You need these. I want you to see these 5. Consumption is one. And we know that. We know that we put the food in our mouth and we consume it. The second one is digestion. The process of digestion starts when the food enters our mouth. And digestion is a process where our mouths create certain enzymes to help us break down whatever food that we eat. And then watch this. You know what it's doing when it's breaking down food we eat? It's preparing the food so we can absorb whatever nutrients, vital nutrients that are in it. But you know the problem when you and I eat meat is that cow has already consumed all of the vital nutrients out of it, and now they digested it, and then their body is going to go through the next step, which is absorption. This is why they've been lying to you and me, because absorption occurs with the small intestines or the intestines of any animal. How many stomachs does a cow have? All of the they're stripping all of the vital nutrients out. So absorption is when for humans, when the small intestines breaks down the nutrients that are absorbed into our bloodstream. Sister Brandy, we were just talking about that. And then watch this, this is why it's important. It takes those nutrients and it carries it to all of our cells. Do you know how many cells that humans have in our bodies? Over 155 million cells that make up our body. And the bloodstream carries the nutrients to all of our body. That's why we're able to walk in here on our own strength, because those nutrients are turned into ATP, which gives us the basic energy. Watch this now. To not live your best life, but to do the will of God who created us. See, digestion, that we just talked about, is breaking down that food into the nutrients, and then it gets it ready again for our bodies to absorb whatever nutrients that's left. The problem is, that animal, that beef, that chicken, that fish, whatever other kind of meat you like, and I like, all of the nutrients have already gone through these 3 stages with that animal. I wish I had mine. I'm going to send it to you after this. All these links to all of everything I'm saying is backed up with science. But it's really backed up with the word as well. I'm just showing you the science so that you can know I'm not just making stuff up. The next, or the 4th stage, once our bodies absorbs all the nutrients, then utilization. We begin utilizing it. So how is our food utilized? Well, because we've already digested it, we absorb the nutrients. Now, utilization is when we further break down. Watch this, not the food, but the vital nutrients, which is absent from that chicken sandwich. Yeah. It's absent from those ribs that we've just seared to death. There are no vital, watch this. You can still get, protein from the animal. Well, wait a minute. The animal, through its metabolic processes, has already gone through stripping all of it to use for themselves. And then finally, elimination. Do you know how long it takes for our bodies to eliminate meat, flesh? 2 days. I used to eat meat, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, all the time, every day. Do the math on that. I used to be so constipated. Why? I'm going to get to that later. Because when I show you, when I get to, I'll get to that later. So I want you to see this. Can we get protein or amino acids from eating animal flesh? No. I just showed you that we can't, because of the 5 different stages of the metabolic process. So now here's the question. Since we can't get nutrients from it, that's going to help our bodies turn it into energy, why are we eating it? Because it tastes good, right? It has to taste good. I dare you to put meat cook it, no seasoning. Have you ever tried turkey, ground turkey with no seasoning? Nasty. Have you ever eaten a chicken breast with no seasoning? Nasty. Have you ever ate fish? You know we like fish. We like to put that. We put salt, pepper on the fish, and then we get the batter, and then we have to batter it up just to make it taste good. You know why we do that? Because we're addicted to this meat. Now, I didn't even get into processed meats yet. These are just the fresh meats that we eat. So, we can. Sorry, we don't get nutrients or vital nutrients out of animal's flesh. Now watch this. I didn't even mention the fact that I did. Once we sear that meat, the meat is dead. How are you going to get life out of something that's dead? You can't do it. I can't do it. Let me read this. I'm just going to read this. I have the sources that have been peer reviewed in the science field here. It's on my phone. Let me read this. There is significant loss of lysine and sulfur that our bodies need. That, in other words, our cells need these nutrients to give us ATP. So there's a significant loss of lysine and sulfur containing amino acids. After eating protein, on prolonged heatings, tryptophan, methionine, and the basic amino acids that we need for cell reproduction are all lost. Yeah. Charring and the presence of charred meat during cooking is due to the destruction of the rest of the amino acids in that meat. Gone. So why is it so hard for you to push back? Because we're addicted. We're addicted. But there's good news. I want to tell you this. There's good news. Yah knew when he created Adam, he understood our design. So tonight I'm talking about, last week I talked about the physical design. That we should eat based on our physical design. Tonight, I'm talking about why we should eat based on our metabolic design. We should eat not based on if it tastes good. See, we have a whole messed up, toxic relationship with food. You got a relationship with food. People turn to it when they say, "Oh, come here, ice cream. Let me eat all of you watching this movie." Oh, wait a minute. You see, watch it. Oh, you got an A on your quiz? Oh my God, let's go for drinks. Let's go. Oh my goodness. Man, I can't believe I got scared. I'm hungry. What do they have at Starbucks? Man, oh, I'm sick. Let me go get that Starbucks. Addiction. And you know who's benefiting off of our addiction? The dope man. Come on, y'all sing it. Y'all ain't too good. Dope man. Yeah. They're bidding. Now, who is the dope man? Pharmaceutical companies. You know what? I can't prove this, but you know what? If it was me, if I was heartless, if I was like, I didn't care about nothing but money, you know what I would do as a pharmaceutical company, as a president? I would buy all fast food restaurants. Straight up. I would buy. Why? Because I know, just like a dope man, I'm going to go And I'm going to provide a service for you, a dope house, so that you can have all you want and kick it in there all as long as you want. And keep coming back every single day. You know why? Got you addicted. And that's what's happening to us today. And the reason why we go to these places to eat is not for nutrition. We've already eliminated that. We go because we're addicted. I've already told you, even when you take foods home that you bought from the store, it's not from the fast food restaurant. It's right on the aisle. Raw meat. We got to season that thing up. We got to chart a life of that thing just to eat it. But here's the good news. I wish that now that I've eliminated all your reasons for not being able to stop cold turkey, and now you got to admit, you got to look yourself in the mirror tonight, just like I did, and say, you know what? I'm addicted to me. I'm addicted to it. So, what you're going to have to say is, what are the 7 steps? What are the 7 steps? You got to admit you got a problem. Look, see, it's hard to admit because I want to think that I'm good. I'm good at all. I'm good. But the scripture says, no, you're not. Because you were not designed for the kind of consumption. Watch this. You were not designed for that kind of consumption. And then the way we're consuming meat today is completely different from the Israelites and how they consumed it. Notice this. The Israelites, when they complained, they mentioned, we tired of this manna. It satisfied them, but they were tired of it. And then what did they say? Dang, dog, we had all of this in. We had fish, we had meat, we had all of this stuff. And now you brought us out here to just eat this manna, the leeks, the onions, all of the food that they were supposed to be eating. A lifelong detox. There's protein in plants. We've already proven that. When we talked about the gorilla who's strong, the rhino. Have you ever seen a rhino that's trying to be eaten by a jaguar? Man, I've seen that rhino put his head down and flip that jaguar in the air. Giraffes. Have you ever seen a lion try to eat a giraffe? Do you know that the giraffe can kick a lion or tiger and they go flying? Why? Because they're eating the vital nutrients that's found in plants. Plants, and again, I have this, I'm going to send it to you guys on Friday. So what I was planning on doing is using Mark's phone. And have my phone here. Every time I said something, text it to you so you can read it. I'll do it afterwards. Plants, whether it yields fruit or vegetables, they are the highest yielding in protein. They yield the most protein. In other words, they yield, y'all knew what he was doing. So you're saying that these companies are they're smarter than y'all. Or we just flat out rebelling. Listen, this is one of the final frontiers in your walk to get closer to y'all. This is one of the final, we watch it. We walk out of darkness when it comes to moral issues. We're praying, we're doing, think about this. I want you to think about, see, this is what I think about. I think about when I was down on my knees praying and saying, oh my God, if you could just save me. And then even after I say, Lord, if you just get me out of this. I want you to recall your desire to be delivered when it comes to moral, and family issues. We got to have that same desire to be delivered from this addiction. I said this last week. Big Mama starts to get edema. You guys know what edema is? Swelling. Then all of a sudden, because there's edema there, the heart is sent a message saying more fluid. And because of the edema, now we have heart disease with Big Mama. Big Papa. They go to the hospital, and because they're so old, they're older. Other organs start. See, it's our system. There are at least 7 systems in the human body. Oh, goodness. I'm doing research on lymphatic nervous system. When one system, the circulatory system, begins to shut down, it affects the entire body, all of the organs. Then we got a very Big Mama. And at the funeral, the preacher preaches. Then we go down into the basement or upstairs, and the same food that killed Big Mama, we serving it up at the repast. Addiction. I grew up in South Central LA. I would see crackheads walking all the time, just like in any major city. Oakland, Philadelphia, all of them. Crackheads die on the street all the time. What does that other crackhead do? Check their pockets. They ain't got them. Walk over and keep going to the crack house. Imagine. And they do it every day. I want you to put yourself in their position and how crazy they look doing that. What they say insanity is? Doing the same things, expecting different results. I know, guys, I know this is hard. I'm not trying to listen. I'm not trying to beat you over the head, but you know I am trying to. I'm trying to because I love you. I don't want you to have a lung transplant, a double lung transplant. I don't want you to have to go through that. I don't want you to have to go through having a kidney transplant or put stents in your heart. I don't want our children who are obese coming out the womb. I don't want that. I'm tired of watching children at the children's hospital with all kinds of cysts because their body is full of acid because the mom was addicted to all these meats that are nothing, dairy products and meat. And I'm going to get into that. I'm just dealing with the proteins now. Are all acid filled when we digest and we go through those 5 metabolic stages, it turns into acid. Then our body sends bacteria. And because we're so high on acid, not the one you put under your tongue, but the body sends bacteria to kill it. And then what do? We go to the doctor. They prescribe you what? Antibiotics. Now the problem with that is that the antibiotics, and you know about this, you just told me upstairs, Sister Brandon, the problem with antibiotics, they kill all the bacteria. They attempt to kill all the bacteria. And you know what happens? We have good bacteria. You was just telling me that. We have good bacteria that's designed to watch this, aid us in the elimination process. And this is why we go through. Because the bacteria has done its job, has gotten rid, we've already utilized, we absorbed the protein, the amino acids, the vital nutrients. We utilize them, we have energy to do the will of Yah now. and then elimination. I'm gonna get into how long meat stays in our bodies and then what happens to it. You know what? That's why it's hard for us to do ministry. We tired, right? We tired. We ain't got no energy to be going to work, dealing with folk on your job, leave work, dealing with traffic, gotta pick up a job, gotta do all of this, gotta go over here, do that, run around here. Man, I don't have no energy left. Watch this, not even to talk to my wife or my husband. And if I do, because I've been consuming so much meat, do you know how much psychological trauma that these cows, that these animals go through when they're headed to the slaughter? You know what they're releasing? They're releasing, oh, what is it called? Man, I gotta get better at remembering this. I just only been in class a week. What is that thing, the EpiPen, right? You know what the EpiPen is? There's an adrenaline that not just animals, but we release also. That when we're in fear, we either fight or flight or fight. Animals release that too when they know they're going to the slaughter. So they get killed, having released all of that. I can't remember the name of it. I'm gonna have it. I'm gonna text it to you guys. That's one of them. But one is epi. Who said that? Come on, Sister Mark. Epinephrine. And another one too. I can't remember the name. But yeah, epinephrine. And they eat their kill. And when we eat meat, we're like, "Rah!" You know why you have all of that energy after you eat meat? Because what we're doing is we're digesting the hormones that this animal released right before they got killed. But guess what? You got to come down. And then watch this, there's no nutrients in it. And so by the time you come down, you're left with the residue of dis-ease. Why? Because our bodies were not metabolically designed to consume it. Oh my goodness, what time we got? I'm just going, what time is it? 11:30? All right, you know what? I'm gonna close with this. I already said that proteins from plants, they yield the highest level of nutrients. That's fruits and vegetables. You know why? They go through a process called, two processes actually. You guys know what it is, photosynthesis. And watch this. They go through photosynthesis to create chlorophyll. Do you know what's needed to create those two things? The sun. You know what it is. You've done a project, you need sun, you need water, and then the plants need, watch this, carbon dioxide. That's why I used to remember my mom used to sing to her plants. And I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? She didn't know the science, but she said, well, when you sing to them, that gives them life. I was like, Mom, you don't know what you're talking about. But Mama was wise. She understood that plants give off oxygen, and then we inhale that oxygen, and then we give off, once we inhale it, we exhale carbon dioxide. So there's a relation. So watch this. We got to get back to the original design that Abba Yah has called us to have the relationship with the kinds of foods He's designed us for. It's one of the final frontiers in this journey. Oh my God. Now watch this. Oh yeah. Now watch this. You know what that does? When we do that, you're going to see depression gone. Why? Because you're eating the vital nutrients that comes from these plants. And the vital nutrients is going to give your cells, it's going to give you, and watch this, when you eat foods, guess what they affect? Our lymphatic system is connected to our emotions, it's connected to our mentality, it's connected to our neural brain center. Oh. I have to say, I've noticed a change in how I respond. I used to be 0 to 100. I still am a little bit. But it's less. It is less. It's less. I've only been doing it for 3 weeks. Give me a chance. Give me a chance. But I noticed it. And so I want to close now. I want to say, if it's the will of Yah for us to eat the foods that we're designed for, I've already gave you reasons why you shouldn't be eating meat. What were the 2 reasons? Anyone remember? Number 1, we weren't designed, our metabolic system wasn't designed for that. Number 2, there's no nutrients, we're addicted. Those are 2, please write that down. And I'm giving scripture to support everything. And I even addressed the issue. Well, what about the Israelites? Did they eat meat? Yes, they did. But not as often and not as a regular part of their everyday life. Oh, yeah. We're not metabolically designed. Yep. And then addiction. That's the only reason we're eating. Again, why addiction? Because there's no metabolic nutrients in it. The animal that consumed it went through all 5 stages of the metabolic process. They've already stripped out all the nutrients and they're using it for themselves, for their energy. The amino acids that are left, we cook them out. Because I like that fried chicken. Whew. And you know what? I think some of these, like, what do they call them? Biotech companies that work in food. I think they make certain foods crunchy for black folk. I do. We like fried chicken. We like it crunchy. Think about chips, crunchy. Oh, crunchy. All of that stuff crunchy. See, I'm gonna get into this when I deal with the taste buds. When I deal with the taste buds, it's gonna blow. Now, why am I saying all this about food consumption? We're dying before we reach our purpose. Our children are sick before they can even come into a relationship with God and then reach their purpose. Who's all behind this? The enemy. He's come to kill, to steal your health. 3 John said this, I pray that you're all in good health, just as your soul. You know why your soul is in good health? Because you're feeding it the right stuff. You're feeding on the word. You're not feasting on all that junk that we used to consume in this world. Nasty, filthy junk. We're consuming. And Yeshua said, man shall not live. He didn't say me. He said, I pray alone, but by the word. That's why our soul is in good health. He said, come on and go with me here. Come with me on this side. He said, come out of the dark side. Come out of addiction. You're going to have to fight. Look, you may have to, I'm going to say, look, you don't know what you're going to say. When the enemy's trying to, you just need to go and just get you a 2-piece. You should tell that enemy, look, I'm not look. You know when things hurt me, I think nothing. I kick my toe on that wooden frame of the bed. All kind of curse words came out. I didn't say it, but boy, they just rolled up so quick. And that's how it should be when the enemy kicks you and says, you ought to have that chicken at Costco. You tired? You don't feel like going home and cooking? Oh man. Or you can go through what I've gone through. Go lay up on a table for 14 hours. And let somebody cuddle you. And pray that God brings you through and that there are no complications. Every head bowed, every closed. Abba, thank you for giving everyone the patience. For listening here on this night, tonight, we can do anything in this world we want to, but we're here. And so, Abba, I thank you for each and every person. Abba, I know that the words were hard. They were hard, Abba. And Abba, preparing these lessons and studying and to understand what's happening, Abba, is hard to take. But you've given us solutions. You've given us everything we need to overcome. Number one, you've given us the rock. You filled us with the knowledge of Yeshua HaMashiach, which is in him all knowledge and wisdom. So we don't have to perish because of a lack of knowledge now. Thank you for giving me just the will to not just talk about it, but to be about it. And every day, one day at a time. One day at a time. To be understanding. One day at a time. Help me to say things in a way that people can receive it. But sometimes we got to just yell fire with all of our heart, with all of our soul, because we recognize the danger. And so I pray for every single person here. I pray for family members. I pray even for our enemies. Oh, those that backstab, those that try to put our lights out. Don't allow our light to shine. Want to destroy us. So we thank you. We praise you in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Amen. Blessings. Blessings, y'all. Oh man, I got more. Man. Oh my goodness. I got more. Any questions? Any questions or comments? Forgive me for last week. I know I was, forgive me. Any questions? Any concerns? Any comments? I do want to just say this. I know it's not going to be easy. I know that what's being said is probably not new, but it's a reality. It's becoming more and more of a reality. And so, just like at our house, I'm not trying to force nothing on anybody. See, the first thing you got to do is change yourself. You can't be listen, you let your light shine. You see the benefits. And I'm going to just